I'm Tyler.
I'm Shorty.
I'm Miles.
I'm Kara.
And we are the Inner Idiot.
The following podcast has strong language, violence, and other things you probably shouldn't let your children listen to. Please enjoy. Hey, Ty, if you wanted to make a podcast, how would you do it?
Spotify Podcasters app, of course. Or hell, even the website.
Do they have any way you can edit audio and help with organizing your episodes?
All that and more. You can reach out to listeners and have feedback with their Q&A feature, and it distributes it to all other major places you listen to podcasts.
I just looked, and they got a video podcast set up and editing tools here, too.
So all you got to do is sign up at SpotifyForPodcasters.com or get the app, and you're done.
Damn, it's just that easy.
Drop what you're doing, swallow what you're chewing, because we don't want you choking from all this joking. It ain't wet from sweating. We ain't done yet. Welcome to Inner Idiot Podcast. I'm your host, the big, the bald, beautiful, the brash, the bumbling, and the oftentimes bastardly MC Tyler Havlin.
2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo!
A little disappointed in one of our guests there that didn't woo, but that's okay.
His mic was muted.
I'm not a good wooer.
I'm not a good impersonator, but look, we all saw what happened on your episode.
I do got to run downstairs and grab that.
All right, no, what do you got to grab now?
I got a gift for you. It's actually I didn't get it. Oh. One of our listeners and good friends got it for you.
All right, cool.
Literally got it for you today, a matter of fact.
All right, well, let me introduce you first, and then you can go and I'll talk to our guest. Next up, he is the Lord that's never bored, the commander of the comic books. He's been pegging kitty and grabbing titty since I don't know when. 2 claps and a Ric Flair for Lord Shorty fresh in the flesh.
Woo! See, I fucked it up.
Yep.
That's all right. All right, you go get my gift.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm going to introduce our next lovely guest. You've heard them on Bleach Bros podcast. They are living legends. First up is B-Word. Let's give him 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! This is all discombobulated.
Oh, close enough.
This is about how I expected it to go. Next up is Jake the Hater. 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo!
Got the clap.
The clapping like remotely always fucks us up. And Shorty's back. There he is. Hello, Shorty.
Hey, buddy.
I'll be honest, Tyler. If I was there, I would have fucked up the clap too.
It's all right,
I'm not
man.
a good in unison guy.
It's okay. Like, we all got to march to the beat of our own drums here.
What are we talking about? We're talking shit?
No, I just got through the intros. I'm eager to see what's in your hand there.
All right, so this is a gift from our good friend. What do we call him? What do you call him?
Bonbon?
No. Casey. Fuck it, whatever. Zachariah. There you go.
Bullfrog?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? Oh, man, it's a Ric Flair #1 comic books.
Fuck yeah.
Look, I'm going to show this. We ain't on the live, so they can't see it. It kind of looks like some Magic Mike shit, but that's all right.
I mean, that's a little accentuated, but yes.
All right, so code name Ric Flair Magic 8 Ball. Man, I just got a boner. All right, anyways, welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad to have you after years, like we discussed on your show. It's been a long fucking time. I mean, you guys used to do the Instagram lives with us. What happened, B-Word? I thought you were going to start doing them.
So
Man. Yeah, no, I was entertaining it, and then I started doing other shit. You know, life happens. You know how that works, Tyler.
Yes, all too much. Them lives are fun, man. They'll make their comeback one day. Shorty, why are you doing this sexy pose for us right now?
Because it's sitting on my knee because I'm tired of holding my phone.
With your aggressive ass nipples. All right. As we do with guests, Jake and B-Word, the floor is yours for some embarrassing stories.
I sneezed in a girl's cooter once while eating her out, and I didn't know what to do, so I froze, I froze because it was not like a regular sneeze. It wasn't like it was like a full blown like, and like it was like Arnold slamming his dick in a car door. It was bad, and I sat down there, and then finally she lifted the blanket because it was like one of those types of eat out moments. It wasn't just all out in the open. She lifted it and she goes, "You just made it wetter," and I went, "Oh, this is a Tyler girl. Like this is a total." But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. I was stuck down there, and I was like, "What do you do next?" Right? Like because I just blew all fluids like just out of all the holes in my face.
My germs.
What
And I was just.
If
But also,
you
I
go
didn't
to
want to lick it up.
if you go to Urban Dictionary and you type in the Sneezy McConnell, that's what you did.
Okay. I didn't know what to do.
B word is the Urban Dictionary.
I also got caught spitting on a girl's back trying to pretend to come once.
That's awesome. How did you get caught?
Because she turned around and she goes, "What are you doing?"
What did you do? Sit there and like,
no, because
like
I was trying to think what the consistency of I was trying to think of the consistency of cum, right? So this is a really thought out process. So I'm doing it. So I'm trying to hawk this one up, but it was one of those where I don't know if I was eating Laffy Taffy or something, but it was one of those stringy spits, that you used to be able to slurp back up. So it was dangling down. It wouldn't undo, and I'm sitting there, but my hands are on her hips. So I'm like trying to get it to come off. And she goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm so done." Oh. I acted like the Hulk, and I got up.
You just didn't even want to finish. You're like, "Fuck, I'm gonna spit on this."
I was
bitch.
over it. It's not as bad as the time B-Word was with the Buffamoose, and the oscillating fan kept blowing. And he kept sniffing her. She was a stanker.
all right, so hold on. You have to slow that down because all I heard was B word, a buffalo, and something about a moose.
So there was this girl that I was.
There is a story to this.
Yeah, and there was an oscillating fan going on, and she got in a particular position, and the fan hit just the right way. And needless to say, dude, I got a waft of shit that I didn't want to smell, and instantly it was like, oh no, and we had to have a discussion. Me and my dick. See, there's the D right there for you, Jake. In the bathroom, and it was like that What Women Want with Mel Gibson, where you're like having that conversation with yourself where you're like, okay, we've wanted to do this, we're here, we need to finish it, but the waft. But here's the thing about this, okay, so I got the waft and it hit the tongue in all the wrong spots, right? You know how smells do that occasionally, and I come back out and she's like, "I'm really sorry I farted." Now, normally that wouldn't be an issue, except for a buddy of mine, literally like 2-3 weeks before, had been shit on in bed, unannounced, because they were doing anal sex, and my mind went to, I'm not going to be shit on tonight, so I immediately pulled the pants up and I left.
That's awesome.
That was not going to go, because here's the thing, boys, when you fart, right? We all know that it's a turd honking for the right of way.
Yeah.
So when you fart. Sometimes it's like, and 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, I got to shit, right? But when other people fart, sometimes like, oh, I got to shit right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the differentiator of that because I don't know how people's bodies work. So I don't know if we got 10 minutes.
I have just air in my butthole sometimes.
You have a lot of things in your butthole.
That's true, but my point is, I think sometimes it's not always a turd honking. It's just air.
Yeah, sometimes it's just your prostate saying, "Hey guys, I'm here.
Hey, what's up?
How you
I'm
been?"
It's a
down
little
here.
prostate honk.
Yeah, it's like honk if you're horny. Beep beep.
That's why I'm always farting. Shit.
I did join the shit your own pants or my shit my own pants club recently. That sucked.
But hold on,
I never shit myself.
What?
You've never shit yourself?
I finally did, and now it sucks.
You're in your 30s and you've never shit yourself until now?
No, and I finally did, and I was at work while I was driving in my office, and I had to sit on a bunch of shirts and stuff.
I love Shorty's face right there.
You're driving
his
in your
office
office?
is his vehicle.
It is my office. I'm a travel, but I put the shirts down my pants, and the worst part was, so I was trying to sneak into my house after shitting my pants, and then I was in the laundry room, and my wife found out too. She goes, "What is that?" I'm like, I don't know. She goes, "You shit yourself." And I went, "I shit myself."
So hold on.
So-
How did you make the manzy pad, like out of the shirts? Because
I had shirts on seat, and the worst part is they were brand new shirts that I got for like swag. So it wasn't even like these were shirts that were dirty, and these were shirts I was excited to wear, and I was like, "Oh, I got some new swag," and I just fucking christened them with a ride home of Jake's
That's
shit.
awesome.
Did
So
you?
you didn't shart, you shit.
I shit. I full on did a shit. Because all right. So side note for people and our buddy Noam from Dads and Day will attest to this because we talked about this. We had a whole conversation of what we use to piss in our cars when we travel because him and I travel a lot for work.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I just had to pee, and I didn't.
How do you
So then I
confuse
shit my pants.
pissing and shitting?
I
Well, no,
just
no, no,
did.
no, no,
I don't
no,
know.
no.
It was one of those moments.
It's one of those things where like you have to pee and you think you just have to pee. You go in there and start releasing the flow, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no,
Oh no.
I gotta poop now.
I was in traffic and it was all ready to go.
Yep.
So you're peeing in a bottle, I assume,
Yeah.
and shitting in your pants.
Shit in my
At that
pants.
point, you should have just pissed your pants too. Like fuck it.
I
We're
know.
gonna hit the Holy Trinity.
that happened.
Just pour the bottle on your
God
lap.
damn it,
you're
Jake.
like, I'm good.
God damn it, you ruined a perfectly good bottle.
I ruined some new shirts too, and my wife's respect.
My wife's respect.
Because the only other thing I've ever done in the laundry room that made my wife lose respect, she still doesn't know this. I'm sorry, I just keep having story after story, but
You're good.
I connected my phone to a Bluetooth speaker once, and I used to jerk off in the laundry room when I needed a time alone. So I went in the laundry room.
Oh
on the
no.
door, and I'm jerking it, right? But I forget, and I'm an auditory jerker. Okay, I need the sound.
Right.
So I love my AirPods. I like being able to listen. Well, I keep blasting the volume, and I'm trying to go at the same time. Like, why can't I hear this shit? And all of a sudden, my wife comes running around the corner. She goes, "The neighbor kids hacked our fucking Bluetooth speakers again. There's porn all in the house." And I'm like, "What? There's fucking porn!" And she's like, "Get out of here!" So I get out, and what I did is I put the iPad in the fucking laundry underneath all the clothes, and I ran out and go, "I'm gonna get these fuckers." And so then I had to act for a while, like I had to walk around the neighborhood acting like I was knocking on doors yelling at kids about porn.
Oh no, hold on. I have so many questions. One, like, it must be nice not to have to mute your porn. Is first and foremost, because I ain't heard porn in a long time. I just watch it.
Okay.
Second, does your wife not know what you're doing in there?
I don't know. Probably, but it was one of those moments I didn't want her to know then. Because it was, all right, I'll admit too, it was one of those moments like, you know, when you've watched porn and you're like, that's pretty good. And then sometimes you're like, I need something a little extra spicier that's fucked up. And Tyler, I knew you can agree with me on this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it was one of those moments. So the last thing I did too is, what were you watching? And then be like, no, not the time for that one.
I don't know. I already closed that tab.
Not the time to open this one up.
Wow, that's great, dude. I'm fucking here for it.
Yeah. I had to also go back for the iPad, and I was hoping she didn't dig through the laundry bin because that also would have been embarrassing.
So she doesn't know about this? She still doesn't know that was your porn?
No, the only time she found out I peed on her is when we talked about it on the show and she listened to that episode.
You pee on her often?
No, I didn't.
shower.
I didn't know she was in the shower.
Oh, dude.
I was washing my face.
You have
and I
to
peed in
piss
the
on.
shower.
You have to piss on whoever you're in the shower with. That's like
Well,
a
she
rule.
jumped in, and I didn't know she was there. And then I was just going, and I was peeing
How
on
do
her.
you not know she's in the shower with you?
She snuck in. She likes to sneak in on me a lot.
Well, that's her own fault. She got pissed on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I was washing my face, and I'm just letting it go. And all of a sudden, she turns around. And she goes, "Wow, the water's different today." I went, "Yeah, it is."
It's a hard water, baby. Now, beware. You got a story that you've told me before, and I'd like the regular listeners to hear it.
So I was hooking up with this girl, and she was a big fan of Harry Potter, and I to this day have not watched Harry Potter.
Wow.
I appreciate people who have. I got in a mode where I was like, I'm not watching Harry Potter, and so far I've stuck with that. However, we go back to her apartment, and she tells me that, hey, if I turn on Harry Potter and you start watching it with me, you'll get laid. Now, we had already bumped uglies before, so it wasn't like, I had to do any sort of tasks to be able to get it. But so she turned on Harry Potter, and instantly we start Netflixing and butt hugging, right? And so we're just like, yes, sir, let's do this shit. And so we're going to town, and we're on her couch. Now, she's got a cat, and this cat, I'm not a cat person at all. Like, this is not my jam. I think that they're evil creatures. They belong outside where the coyotes can get them. Like, we just don't need to have cats. But she's got this cat, and this cat is like her child, if you will. And so we take it from the couch to the bedroom, And we're in the bedroom, and she's got this really shoddy bed, and I'm not a little dude, so I'm fucking fat, and I'm on this shoddy bed, and I'm getting it, dude. I am trying to thrust in places that I can only imagine reaching, right? And so I'm hitting this thing, and I do one good hump, where you just want to try to like poke the cervix a little bit.
Yeah, you're trying to put her through the wall.
Oh yeah. And instantly when I do that, I'm grabbing the headboard at the same time so that way I can sit there and do the thing. And the bed claps. Like the headboard hits my head, and the top of the bed that's attached to the headboard hits the ground. And so now I'm in this awkward position that I don't know if I can continue fucking or if we can just like roll over and continue. So like I'm trying to figure it out. I have no care or concern, at least in the moment of like where her head's at in this. I'm just like, I just want to be like, hey, I want to continue fucking right now, right? And so eventually, like, she moves a pillow out of the way and she goes, holy fucking shit. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there you are. Yes, this is crazy, right? And so we get up, we take the bed down, we put the mattress on, we finish the game, right?
That's dedication.
Yeah. And at this point, she goes, hey, where's my cat? He likes to hide under the bed. And so I'm like, what the fucking shit? You should have told me about this before we fucking clapped your bed down, So now I'm lifting through all of her bed shit, and I'm like, I don't see a cat. I don't see a cat. And she's like, oh, well, he probably went somewhere. No big deal. When you leave, make sure to shut the door appropriately so that way the cat doesn't get out. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm leaving, and I look behind me, and I'm probably don't pay attention, and I shut the door and I leave, and like I'm laughing at myself. I called Jake on the way home to tell him about this whole bed thing.
because we're such best friends. You called me right away and you're telling me about like crushing this girl's cat after crushing her cat.
And I was just sitting here laughing. Well,
got two pussies that day.
So I get a call the next morning. She's freaking the fuck out because she can't find her cat. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go over. And so like I literally walk in the door, and she's tears streaming down her face. She's freaking out, the whole works. And I'm lifting all of this bed stuff, and I can't find a cat, but I was prepared to find a dead squish pussy under this bed. And I'm lifting everything, and there's no cat to be found. And she's like, oh my God, you let my cat out last night. I'm like, well, maybe I did, but I wasn't going to tell her that. Right. And so I was like, I don't think so. I mean, I look behind me. I mean, he's in your place somewhere. So she's all mad. She's sad. She's worried about everything. Later on that day, she tells me that the cat got so scared when that fucking bed clapped the way it did that it crawled inside of her couch in the living room. And it took him the entire day to get out of the couch. And honestly, man, if I was that cat, I'd have probably done the same thing because, that's first off. If you're getting squished when you hear mom being slammed, you got to defense mechanisms come around, and if the couch is the only safe place for you to find, then by all means go ahead and do it. But I didn't kill the cat. I thought I did. Smashed the pussy though. Pretty happy about that.
You know what would have really helped you get that extra good thrust in, right?
Another couple inches.
Well, that or if you had a pair of socks on while you was fucking for that leverage.
Yeah, the grip rippers. You taught me about the grip rippers.
Yeah, get you some clap cleats.
Do those work on sheets though?
Sure, anything. As long as I got the rubber bottoms, you're golden.
But Tyler, what's your favorite position?
Oh man, it depends on the woman, really.
Okay.
I mean, if they got big old gazungas, I want them on top, right? And obviously the big butt, you gotta hit it from the behind. But like I'm an artist when it comes to missionary, especially if I got the grippy socks on. I'll put one foot up on the wall, one foot on the floor, like I'm doing some Spider-Man shit.
You look like a fucking Battletoad fucking.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, so it just really depends. And like sometimes you wake up and you're kind of like in a romantical mood. You got to do the spoon fucking, It all depends on the person in the mood.
I agree with that.
Although I've never gotten into the wheelbarrow. I can't. No, I'm not dig. I don't dig it.
See, I don't like the reverse pile driver. I did that once.
The reverse pile driver?
Where you have her like laying pretty much on her, just only her neck.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Hold her up and hold her legs, and you just jackhammer or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bounce up and down.
Yeah.
I've yet to be Amazon fucked though.
I would
But
love to be Amazon fucked.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't pass it up.
I don't know what that means.
Give me a muscle
Pegging
mommy.
or what? Yeah. Well,
No.
So that's like when you lay on your back like you're a missionary and your dick's pointed out between your legs and the girl just like hammers you.
well, I've done that. That's fun.
I don't know, man. I'd feel a little emasculated, but I'm here for it. I'll try it. Fuck it. I don't care. I've been married. Find me a nice little muscle mommy. Hit me Amazon style.
Little death by snoo. I'm about
Yeah.
that life.
Yeah, death by snooze too. All right.
That's the way I want to go.
Shorty, you got an embarrassing story for us today? No?
I don't get embarrassed, bro. You know that. And the only times I do get embarrassed is when fucking women are trying to make me embarrassed. And that shit works. And it's not even embarrassment. It's uncomfortable.
I've embarrassed you before.
Probably.
I have. We were at a pool hall. I embarrassed the shit out of him. It wasn't the greatest funny story, but it was still a fun time.
I don't recall this.
It was the first time I had met your girlfriend
Yeah.
at the time. We're not gonna tell that story though, because it's not that it's not a tell story. But we are gonna take a break from all this nasty talk, and we're gonna take a little pause for the calls, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Do you love podcasts? Of course you do. That's why you're here. But you know what's even better than listening to a podcast? Making your own. That's right, and Anchor makes it simple. I'm your favorite host, MC Tyler Havlin, and I'm telling you, go download the Anchor app today, Anchor FM. They have all the tools you need to get started today. And best part is, it's totally free. They push it out to all the major platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. So get started today, people. Go download the app, Anchor FM. I'll wait. Do it now.
And we're back, and we're going to change speeds here. We had talked off air about Marvel versus DC, and we all know Shorty's ground, where he stands. So we're gonna compare the two today. So I'm gonna hand over the floor to Jake and Shorty for a minute.
All right. So, Jake, I made the statement about how I'm not like everybody, in my mind, everybody is like the Marvel fan.
Right.
And DC gets a lot of hate and stuff like that. So, and you mentioned the universe. Like, which universe are we discussing?
Well, yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends the medium and the universe, in my opinion, because I can go back and forth what I think's better. Like right now, I think Marvel's better, but the main factor we're talking about is films, shared universes, and stuff like that. If you're talking with the layman people, right? But like, if you look at the '80s, DC Comics was way better than anything Marvel was putting out.
Yeah.
Besides Todd McFarlane. So that's more what I meant on that. But I mean, are you standing by that DC's? I mean, which universe do you want to talk about? I mean, I'll talk about all of them.
Well, I mean, the universes aside doesn't matter to me really. Like, I mean, I can see the disdain and whatnot for like the DC movies and stuff like that. Like, I can see it, and as a fan of DC Comics and stuff like that, it is a huge bummer to see my superheroes poorly represented and whatnot. Like, the Flash honestly was a huge disappointment to me, especially choosing to do the comic book storyline Flashpoint.
And knowing the shit about Ezra Miller at that point made the movie worse.
I could
Well,
give a
also
fuck
knowing
less
that
about
there's
that.
no continuation, like knowing that it was an end anyways, it's like why do I need to watch it? It's
Right.
sort of like how B-Word felt about Jessica Jones. Like when you knew it was over, it's like, is there even a reason to watch this or not?
Sure.
I'll still tell you this though. Overall, I'm still a Marvel fan over DC because I think one, DC characters haven't aged as well. You have the top 5, and who gives a fuck about anybody else? The Rogues Gallery for Batman is very comparable to Spider-Man. However, I will say Batman's Rogue Gallery is better, but you have both universes that can be similar, but I think Marvel has hit it out of the park overall time compared. I think DC always is going to hang on to, we have Batman, we have Superman, and fuck Superman, by the way. You have your basic 5, and then most people can't even. I know you can, Shorty, but most people can't even fucking name you any other fucking character.
Well, I will say, if you were to go back to 2006 and you asked, like, name a Marvel character, people are going to name you Spider-Man, the X-Men, and probably the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody gave a flying fuck. If you would have told me in 2006 or 2005 that Iron Man was going to lead the MCU, I would have laughed at your fucking face.
So would I, because I hated fucking Iron Man.
I still hate Iron Man. Iron Man is still... Iron Man still sucks. Like, the comic books are trash. The movies, after the first two, are fucking garbage. The Avengers movies are fine. But everything else, I'm like, dude, you fucking, like, get out of here. Like, nobody needs you anymore.
I guess it also depends on, like, what you're a fan of, though. Because for me, I'm a fan of villains over heroes.
Me too.
Always have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the villainous stories of Marvel over DC. I like the storylines behind them and how they go about it. I felt unless you have Batman's Rogue Gallery, nobody can really name anybody else besides Darkseid.
Sure.
That's the problem I have with DC. Like, and Joker is above all, and mind you, that's why we had the argument on our show about Batman Day. Like, what's more important to cast anymore? Is it more important to cast a Joker, or is it more important to cast a Batman? Because you're always getting one and the other. You're always getting a Joker in every Batman film, even though it's fucking annoying. But two, we talk about that role almost as much as we talk about Batman anymore.
Oh yeah, no. Everybody wants, like, it's the saddest thing, truly. Like, I mean, when you bring up Superman, everybody wants to see him fucking, like, you want to see Lex Luthor. You know what I'm saying? When you talk of Flash, you want to see Reverse Flash.
Right.
You know, when you see Green Lantern, you want to see Sinestro. And Batman is Joker. Like, even though Batman and, you know, Spider-Man on the opposite spectrum, like, have the two most impressive rogues galleries in all of comic books, with Flash being a very tight third.
All right, so hold on. If Joker is Batman's, like, apex villain, right? Who is Spider-Man's?
Green Goblin.
Is it Green Goblin? Because I'd say it's Doc Ock.
No.
Doc Ock is the
intellectual. Yeah. Intelligent.
Doc
he's on
Ock,
the same level.
Doc Ock to the Penguin would probably be a good comparison with Batman to Spider-Man.
See, I'm Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I would say Mr. Freeze, and I would even go almost a step further and say Ra's al Ghul.
Oh yeah, that would
that's
be
a good one. But see, that's where you get into. Well, I mean, yeah, that was really good. I actually can't argue that one. No, because it's like, when you look at the Joker, you're looking for a sinister, sadistic evil.
Yeah, and that's what Green Goblin is. Yeah.
And also, like Joker, especially in New 52 and stuff, there can be new iterations of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did the same thing with Green Goblin, where you had Green Goblin 2, and then Hobgoblin.
Yep.
And so you have that whole showcases series as well in itself.
Yeah. But no, and, like, when everyone's popping off about the movies and stuff like that, dude, the last 5 years, aside from Endgame, Marvel has done nothing but trash to me.
I completely agree
because
with you there.
We said, or I know I said, and I know me and B-Word had a long discussion about this, and he agreed in the sense that this was our Star Wars, and it's over, and, like, where do you go from here? Like, I would have been happy if it was over with. Like, of course, I know you're going to continue it and you need to, but it's like, where do you go off of that? Like, you hit the peak.
Yeah.
You either jump off the peak or you try to find a new mountain.
So
we've long said that the MCU should have ended at Endgame.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that was a clean break. It was a clean storyline. Everybody kind of had their finality, if you will.
Yep.
And then you know that they weren't going to do that because it's a capitalism game now. They want to continue to make money. But if you look at the quality of the storylines, like, I was so excited for Secret Invasion. And I have to say, it's probably the worst Disney Plus series.
The moment it was announced, I was like, this is going to be hot dog water. Like, no Marvel fan is going to give a huge fuck about this.
Yeah.
But also, what DC fan is really giving a fuck about most of the stuff coming out that's on that?
Well, I mean, I didn't give a shit.
Are you excited for Blue Beetle or Shorty?
I am, actually. Like, I like Jaime Reyes, and I think the CGI and stuff look good. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm concerned.
It looks like a shitty Power Rangers Transformer baby to me.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm not necessarily going to say, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I'm excited to see what they do with it because I am a fan of Jaime Reyes. I do like Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle. He's fun character in the comic books and the animated series and stuff like that. He's always been enjoyable to watch. I am concerned with what they're going to do with Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, because he is the staple and like the golden age of Blue Beetle. So kind of seeing like he's not established or anything like that. And now if you did something with him, showing him like the history and whatnot, and that's why he takes on the moniker, cool beans. But of course they changed it in the history in the New 52. Or no, they actually, Jaime Reyes was introduced before the New 52. But yeah, he helped take on the iconic Blue Beetle name because of Ted Kord.
But they could do a good job, sort of like they did, and it's not just because they're both bugs, but like what Ant-Man did, right? You had Pym, and then you had Lang.
Yeah.
And people were concerned because Pym's like the end-all, be-all, like golden age, and then you introduced Scott Lang, which depending on the generation you're from, too, which one's your favorite. Hence why I'll always argue that Marvel, I think, does better too, because I feel like they've done a better job with the continuation of stories. And if you look at it and break it down based on characters, right? We've had other Batman, but who does anybody ever give a fuck about, right? We've had other Flashes, and there's a few, and everybody has their favorite. And as you're talking about Blue Beetle, but majority of characters in the DC universe are pretty much played by one character, and they've never really had the next success when you tried to continue the story like Marvel has, in my opinion.
Well, I can't think of somebody stepping into one of the iconic standings and taking off with it.
Right.
In Marvel's side.
Well, I mean, if you're and you're talking about like the bigs, like if you're talking Fantastic, like what you were saying before 2005, or are you talking about any character?
I'm talking about in the comic books in general. Like, I mean, you've always had
Miles Morales has done a pretty good job as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, that was completely writing. Like, that was completely switch up. Like, yeah, that was completely, and that's not even set in the 616 universe. You know what I'm saying?
Frog Thor.
Huh?
Frog Thor.
Get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Oh yeah, that's gonna be great.
Throw it out there.
No, get out of here. But it's one of those things where now, like, that you're fucking with the iconic history of them. So like, obviously nobody's gonna change Bruce Wayne. They tried it back in like 2003 or 2004 when they made Dick Grayson Batman. Yeah. And Damian Wayne was right under him as the Robin. And that actually sold exceedingly well for that time era. Like, they did really well with it. But people did what people do, and they want Bruce Wayne back. Yeah. It's the same thing when... Go ahead.
We were talking about media, like streaming media or visual media. Shorty, who's your favorite Batman? Because I think that Jake and I have had a long discussion about... Batman actors, like who's your guy? Like if you had to pick one.
In all seriousness, like nostalgia aside, because like looking back at it, rewatching the movies and stuff like that, it's changed. I love the way Batfleck did it.
Yes,
Batfleck all the way.
And honestly, like I'm excited to see the second movie because I was impressed with Robert Pattinson. And I want to see more of him because of the direction that they've made the movie.
Yeah, he did a great job.
I thought he did an excellent job. It was exactly what I wanted. I wanted I wanted Batman the detective. I didn't want Batman the brute. Because that's all I've ever seen. I've always seen Batman as the brutal martial artist.
Brooding warrior that comes in. And
exactly right. Like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And like, sure, with, God, what's his name? Not George Clooney, the other one. Val Kilmer, we got more of the, like, Playboy-esque Batman, which was not bad. And George Clooney, as a Bruce Wayne, did not pretty good. As Batman, he was complete dog shit. But if you put him in, like, Bruce Wayne and take Batman out of the occasion, I'll give George Clooney that. Like, that's about the extent of it. But Batfleck, overall, he did an excellent Bruce Wayne. I think he did an excellent Batman. And especially as an older, more experienced Batman, he did an exceedingly well job.
Let's say we got a dream and we got Batman Beyond finally. Would you rather Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, or Christian Bale playing the Batman?
Dude, fuck Christian Bale. He can. Okay. I don't ever want him back in the cowl.
He wasn't Batman.
He wasn't fucking Batman.
I'm just asking out of the three because those are, people rank those in the top three. I know we're all of a difference of opinion here, but which one are you having be the overseer?
I think
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton looks the part, but that is only because of his age currently. But the way Ben Affleck acted as the bitter, old, vengeful Batman and Bruce, I think that is what Terry McGinnis would see and would use. I think that's what, in my head, in the comic books and from the animated series, that is exactly how the Bruce Wayne would act. He's this old, bitter man who's still a badass, but it's just too, sore from years of brutality.
Yeah, sees his timing on the wall and sort of, that's me too, because I loved Batman Beyond. And it was one of those things, I've always pictured it because I like Batfleck the best, even though I joke that Batman did the best Batman we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I had to eat my words because I remember before it came out, I kept saying Robert Pattinson, Glitter Vamp, was going to be the best ever. And he did a good job, but I think it was also the movie writing for me that ruined it.
The tone didn't match the writing. The writing was a little lackluster, and it seemed more bright. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. It seemed like it wanted to be, the script sounded like it wanted to be a brighter tone than the movie was set for. But I enjoyed. Go ahead.
The Penguin in that film,
I loved
Oswald Cobblepot,
Yeah.
is by far one of the best villain creations that I've seen within the Batman lore on film. Sans the Joker in The Dark Knight. I think that he is one of the best creations that came out of that film, and I'm excited that HBO Max or whatever it's called now is going to continue that storyline.
I couldn't even tell that was Colin Farrell.
Yeah, nobody could.
Dude. Yeah, he was incredible. And then you take that into whatever the storyline is going to be in the next Batman. I just really hope, like you're saying, I really hope that everything meshes with that. I feel like there's a ton of potential with this Batman iteration.
Well, it was I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years ago, me and a guy at work were sitting there talking about it. And I said, if they wanted to make if they wanted to do a resurgence and bring back Batman and make its own trilogy in its own universe, what they would have to do is a dark, gritty noir story. I'm and honestly, and I said it back then, I can get my buddy Ryan Harold to fucking vouch for me. I said the Riddler would be the top choice. And they did exactly that. They brought in the Riddler. And I think, even though it was not the Riddler I expected, I still think they did a really good job with it.
How'd you feel about Joker at the end?
Unnecessary plug.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was needed. It didn't add to the gravity of the story or anything coming up. I think they could have left it out because in my mind, the Joker could have been fucking toward the end of it. No big deal. Nobody needs to see the Joker. We all know the Joker. It doesn't need to happen. We have tons of other villains that I want to see. And you can even keep the same realistic tone of the Riddler because the Riddler is a very realistic villain. There's no magic. There's no crazy-ass science. It's just pure wit and maliciousness. And if you want to keep on that track, go start adding in the criminally insane and bring in people, the Mad Hatter, oh God. Yeah, the Mad Hatter, honestly, is just one of my personal favorites. I want to see him. Scarface, the ventriloquist. I think that would be such a neat twist to a film. Especially if done right. I think they could really fuck some people up in that. And I think, honestly, Hugo Strange would be such a cool person to introduce, but I think it would be needed to introduce more of the catalog. Because, I think they announced Mr. Freeze coming in to the Robertson Patton movies, and I think that's such a good idea. I love Mr. Freeze, and I think with the way they ended the movie, talking about how Bruce sits there and tells Alfred that he needs to step up and be Bruce Wayne as well, stepping into the light a little bit. I think it would be good. That would be good insurance for them to step into the light as Bruce Wayne, find out that somebody's fucking up with the medical sector of his company and saying, hey, man, this is unethical. We got to shut it down. Boom, you have the origin for Mr. Freeze. I think it ties in great. It would explain everything, and it would be a beautiful transition.
I'd like that, or I'd like the animated series story, which is one of the best stories ever that we've ever gotten from Batman.
Oh, fucking, what is it? Frozen Love or something like that?
Frozen, yeah. And then I hope they continue with Clayface.
Yeah. I heard about that. I think that would be a good twist on it, too.
Did you see who the rumors for the new Batman's going to be in James Gunn's universe?
Yeah, I give a fuck less about James Gunn's universe. I'm going to go see the movies because they're comic book movies. But
we're going to
be
get
the guy from Supernatural, isn't it?
Yeah, Jensen Ackles. That's the rumors right now, and I'm fucking here for it. I think he'll do great.
Which one? I don't know who he is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Never seen
I know who
Supernatural?
Batman is.
I know Batman.
I think he'd be good for it. I have this issue, Shorty, and maybe you and I can agree here, but we've talked about the films of both DC and of both Marvel, and for a long time I've been in Feige we trust. I mean, you brought 23 films to conclusion with Endgame, and you created this overarching storyline that had this multiverse, or not multiverse, but connected storylines that we were looking for, and all this sort of stuff that we as fans could delve into and really just appreciate. Since then, I don't know what the fuck Feige's been doing. It's just gone off of a cliff, right? And whether that's Feige, the actors, the writers, whatever, James Gunn's been a part of that terrible storytelling.
Yeah.
Now you've got James Gunn going into DC,
And he took away
he's
Henry
going
Cavill.
to be at the helm of this storytelling thing. Are we as fans too spoiled when it comes into this character crossover? Or
Yes.
should we just worry about the character itself, and then if they tie together, they tie together, meaning that with Robert Pattinson, he's in this standalone universe, right? If he just continues in that, never crosses over with anything, can we just stop and appreciate that and not ask for him to like cross over with anything else? Like, where are we at as fans with all of this? Where are you at specifically?
I don't need to see the Justice League. I love the Justice League. The Justice League, I mean, it is hell, I got two of the superhero, two of the symbols tattooed on my chest, and I plan on getting the rest of the league tattooed on me. Like, they are who I always wanted to see. When I saw Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League, and the first time I saw Batman versus Superman, and I saw the Trinity standing up, getting ready to take on Doomsday, I literally cried in the theater because it's what I waited for my entire life. And even during the Avengers movies, when Captain America grabs the hammer for the first time wielding it, it says Avengers Assemble, and everybody goes to hell on Thanos' army, I cried real tears. Because as a comic book person who has read these books since they were able to read, it's what I wanted to see. It's what we all wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I love them, but I don't mean to interrupt you, Shorty, but it's like, I don't need the universes because I love what DC's doing in the separate universe.
Yeah. I love the Joker movies. Right. They're fantastic. The Batman standalone films, The Dark Knight, as much as I don't like Christian Bale, they were good.
The Dark Knight, in my opinion, either The Dark Knight or Spider-Man 2, one of those two
is the apex of perfect comic book film.
Exactly. And you can even put Captain America Winter Soldier in there, kind of, but I would still say Spider-Man 2 or The Dark Knight for sure. Mm-hmm. So those would be the Trinity, if you will, if you wanted to go that way. But it's one of those things, man. Like, I think that we're kind of, I think if you're a fan of comic books, or if you're a fan of these things, you're also a fan of Star Wars or Star Trek or some of those things, right? And I think that for a long time, we've just gotten spoiled. Like, Jake and I have this analogy that the MCU has been our generation's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I feel like when DC casted Man of Steel, they did a phenomenal casting, and then they did Batman v Superman, and their casting skills even went up from there. And then they went with the Justice Leagues. And I think we as fans were like, okay, the movies kind of suck, but like we're gonna give it a chance because look at who they're casting, look at what's going down. And then the Snyderverse, like that 4-hour massive piece was phenomenal.
The
but
problem,
then you get all of that.
the problem is DC wants to catch up to Marvel
Yeah.
as fast as possible. And they can't do that. If they would have done it right with Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, fucking Jason Momoa, and, you know, they could, I don't think they could fix Ezra Miller, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Because in Justice League, I didn't mind Ezra Miller. I think he did a good Flash. He was a good Barry Allen. He was excited. He wanted to do some stuff. And I think it was well done. But I don't think it needed to happen at the speed in which it happened. Now, Batman versus Superman was fine. Like, I don't see that as an issue of tying in. Like, that didn't bother me none. Now all these heroes know each other. Especially when you discover the proximity in which Gotham and Metropolis are so close together, it makes sense that they would have a fucking fight. And Lex Luthor would pin them against each other, let's face it. It sounds like a logical thing. But we have definitely become spoiled because, like, all the Avengers got together. Everybody had their own movie. Well, DC didn't do that. DC didn't have, whether you want to argue DC didn't have the time, it's because the fans as a whole demanded it. And I think
on our podcast, Jake makes a pretty good argument with DC that DC's villains are gods. And how do you fight gods? And when you look at people like Superman, like obviously he can fight gods, right? Mm-hmm. But in Marvel, you're not necessarily fighting gods. I mean, we're getting to the point in the MCU where they're starting to bring in godlike characters, or create them out of the fucking blue. But how do you differentiate that as a fan when you start talking about things on the big screen? Like obviously Batman's in and of himself. The Flash has his own rogues gallery, right? But when you're starting to talk about godlike villains, you're now dependent upon CGI. You're now dependent upon all these visual effects. Like, is that different to you in
I don't
cinema?
I don't see the villains. I don't see the villains as gods. Now, you have the exception of several, Darkseid and otherwise, people on those level. But you have fucking Cheetah, Dr. Minerva. Like, she's just some bitch who's nuts.
Some bitch who's nuts. Seriously.
I mean, it's, she's not anywhere out there. You have Maxwell Lord. It's just a dude with a psychic ability, basically the Purple Man from Marvel. Like they're not gods. They're just people, boom, there you go. Easy, well done. And they put them in, fucking 84, but who gives a shit? Like, that movie sucked.
Oh, so bad.
But that's not because of the content. It was because of the writing and the style. Like, the opening of 1984, the fucking mall scene, dude, that thing made me sick to my stomach. That shit sucked. And another thing I honestly believe is the pandering that they do to everybody. Like, if you want to make good quality content, make good quality content. If you want to make shit to pander to somebody, make shit to pander to somebody. But guess what? It's going to fucking suck.
All right, with that, let's get everybody's closing thoughts. Jake, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
B-word?
I'm going to go with Marvel.
Oh, and we're over here at DC.
That's fine.
A house divided.
But see, the thing is right here. We have all been very respectful toward one another and very chill about it. And I do, and I won't, I'll say this to my dying breath. I enjoy both. I love Marvel and I love DC.
I agreed.
But I love DC more.
Who's your favorite Marvel character of all time, Shorty?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler?
Fucking A.
The Bat Who Laughs.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of that metal universe right now.
All right, so guys, plug your show before we head out today.
So we're the Bleach Bros Podcast. You can catch us on wherever you get your podcasts. Jake the Hater and me, we meet every single week on Sundays to talk about things like Marvel versus DC, like boobs and subies and all that sort of stuff.
And ducks.
Jake tells a lot of penis jokes. He tries to slam it in refrigerators and whatever. If you like everything that's on the Inner Idiot, you already have the tolerance of a sense of humor to be able to enjoy us too. So check us out. All the socials are at Bleach Bros Pod. Check out bleachbros.com for anything else you want to learn about us, and we'll go from there.
And if you ever feel lonely and want an automated message their Instagram.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We don't have the automation anymore on there.
Oh, man.
But
Bummer,
you will
dude.
get a response.
All right, so that's it. That's all we got for today. So in the meantime,
In the betweens time.
remember, great minds think alike, but idiots rarely disagree. Cue the music. We out.